For the next 7 days, I'm going to be trying the evolutionarily perfect human diet. But what is the optimal food for humans? Well, we've been humans for somewhere around 300,000 years. And if you want to look at what humans are supposed to eat, you need to look at what we used to eat before large-scale farming, food science, and microplastics. Yes, some people and humans were designed to eat meat. We would hunt a woolly mammoth and live off that for months on end. Talk to other people and they'll tell you that humans were designed to eat fruit. That prehistoric people would find a ripe patch of berries or a fresh mango tree and live off sweet fruit for their entire life. The problem? Well, they're both right. Humans would eat whatever was available whenever it was available. The human diet would constantly change and our digestive system would have to adapt. To quote the great book, A Hunter-Gatherer's Guide to the 21st Century, the human niche is niche switching. So humans would go through cycles: meat and tubers, fruits and nuts, hunting and foraging, feasting and fasting, abundance and scarcity. The only consistent thing was inconsistency. This is something that's currently missing from almost every modern diet plan. Your typical nutrition guru probably has you eating the same thing every day. There's a list of foods that are good and a list of foods that are bad. It's as simple as that. The thing is, this will work until it doesn't. Either your body will adapt or your willpower will fail and then you're off the diet. But we're in luck because there's one diet out there that's taken into account all of nature's natural rhythms, the 2-day core. This diet was outlined by a guy named Joel Green in his book, The Immunity Code. And this is the kind of eating pattern that I like to follow when I'm not doing some ridiculous experiment for a YouTube video. And the book doesn't just have the diet. There's a bunch of practical biohacks that help you control your biology like cheat codes in a video game. And I'm going to show you a lot of those as well. Joel is one of the brightest minds in the nutrition world. And if you're one of those people that needs a study before you can trust anything, well, this guy can rattle off scientific papers the same way a 12-year-old can rattle off the latest TikTok brain rot. Joel's nuance and hard research ideas make the average influencer doctor look like an amateur. Many of the health fads that are popping up these days are things that Joel's been writing about for over 20 years. So what is the 2-day core? It's not a meal plan, it's a skill. It's eating specific foods that promote specific pathways that mimic your body's natural rhythms. It's a modern-day adaptation of our ancestral eating patterns. For the next 7 days, I'll show you specific foods to explain the ideas. But once you understand the concepts, you can get the same results with so many different options. A fair warning, this video is going to be pretty information heavy. But for each meal, I'll simplify it as much as I can and give you a key takeaway that you can implement right away. Day 1 is a foraging mimicking day. The goal of today is to promote a specific gut bacteria called bifidobacteria. And that's because this bacteria will have some very important effects throughout the night and the following day. For breakfast, I had a whey protein shake with a ton of berries and some walnuts on the side. The main idea with this meal is not to feed you, but to feed your bifidobacteria. These days, we hear so much about healthy gut bacteria, but Joel is the original microbiome guy and has been talking about this stuff for decades. One of the best ways to do that is by having food rich in polyphenols, such as dark berries, which is exactly what I'm doing here. The walnuts also have an important function, and that is to stimulate the key hormone adiponectin, which will help your insulin work a lot better. Loading the body with the color pigments found in berries, known as anthocyanins, helps to burn fat across the rest of the day. So despite the influx of carbs, fat oxidation is actually increasing. This simple fact just goes to show how nutrition is a little bit more nuanced than just calories and macros. Lunch comes around 3.5 hours after breakfast, and Joel puts a huge emphasis on timing. Most diet gurus will simply tell you something like sugar is bad or saturated fat is good, but this is baby talk. Everything is situational and timing dependent. 3.5 hours after breakfast, the berries are starting to ferment in the gut and the polyphenols are feeding the bifidobacteria. It's almost time for lunch, but first we're gonna preload our meal. We're gonna have a small specific snack that will completely change the way our body processes the meal. The snack is gonna be a handful of macadamia nuts. And eating these macadamias 30 minutes before our meal is gonna have all of these benefits. 30 minutes later and I'm having a chicken burrito bowl with black beans, lettuce, cheese, and salsa. Now that our bifidobacteria is primed and ready, it's time to feed it with resistant starches. Black beans, potatoes, oats, or rice. But the key is to eat them cold. Cooking starches and allowing them to cool converts them into resistant starches. This meal is big and bulky, so it'll make you feel full. But because it has very low energy yield, you're gonna start feeling hungry later on. This is an important effect because it'll trigger the hormone glucagon, which will help you continue to burn fat. Despite this massive meal, 3 hours later, I started to feel really hungry. Fat oxidation was in full effect. Before dinner, I'm gonna have another preload meal of an avocado. The avocado will have a similar effect to the macadamias at lunch, but it will also have some unique benefits that will help maximize fat loss while sleeping. An hour later and it's time for dinner, and the key for dinner is cruciferous vegetables, specifically those with hemicellulose fibers. I went with green beans and some coleslaw alongside a lean steak. The idea is to have these fibers ferment in the gut throughout the night and create butyrate, which will peak around 5 a.m., exactly when the AMPK pathway is also peaking. So what is the AMPK pathway and why is it so important? Well, it's the master regulator of youth, metabolism, and energy homeostasis. Basically, when this pathway is activated, there's a cascade of biological events that switches your body from a state of aging to one of life extension. It's a little strange to think about because we think of aging as a linear process, but biologically, it's not that at all. So now my body is fully primed to burn fat and stay young all throughout the night. And it's all because of this simple eating pattern. Tons of dark berries and a few walnuts for breakfast, a small snack of macadamia nuts before having a big resistant starch lunch, and an avocado snack before having a big cruciferous vegetable dinner. The objective of day 2 is to amplify fasting. We all know fasting has great benefits, but long-term, fasting can have some detrimental results. And plus, it's really hard to do. So on day 2, I like to start the day by fasting, but it doesn't have to be a long time. Some days I might eat breakfast right away, other days I might wait until noon. But I've already been fasting for around 10 to 12 hours throughout the night. And because of my eating pattern the day before, that fasting time is amplified. When I do start eating, I'm gonna have small omega-3 rich meals, about 2 to 3 hours apart, containing about 1 to 400 calories. Some examples could be eggs, cheese, avocado, smoked salmon, full-fat cottage cheese, or a protein shake with flaxseed oil. Today I started off eating early, with a couple eggs and some fish oil. A few hours later I had some whey protein with flaxseed oil, and then an avocado and some cheese with sardines, and finally some more sardines with macadamia nuts. So why all the omega-3s? Well, they specifically target the peroxisomes in your fat cells. The peroxisome is the organelle responsible for lipid metabolism in the cell. Not only that, but omega-3s, especially those that are high in EPA, really help to turn down inflammation. And I was really starting to notice that by the end of the day. For dinner, the main idea is just to keep insulin production low. So anything that's kind of lower carb will work. I cooked up some salmon and broccoli with cheese and also had a big salad alongside it. So day 2 is basically fasting, omega-3s, and a low-carb dinner. So this is the main framework for the diet. And the beauty is that you can adjust the protein, the calories, or whatever else you want to add in to the diet based on your specific goals. The key are these specific foods and these specific eating patterns. And that's pretty much it, the 2-day core. Now this might seem kind of strict at first, but this diet is built to be cheated on. Joel calls it ad-lib eating. Pretty much, you can fall off plan at any time, and as long as you get back on the plan, the meals surrounding the cheat meal will help to offset some of the negative impacts. So if you're going to a birthday party or you're having pizza lunch at work, you're not sabotaging your entire diet. This eating plan is designed to fit your everyday life. And if you learn the major concepts, you can basically eat any kind of diet that you want with a few minor modifications and have huge effects on your health. But I did this diet for an entire week, and Joel has so many interesting biohacks, so let's get into some of those. You might think that weight loss is all about lowering your calories, but if all you do is drop calories, then your hunger hormones will get so out of control that there's no amount of willpower that can save you. Anyone that's tried to diet for a long period of time can attest to this. That's why today we're gonna have a massive breakfast. And this is something that Joel recommends 1 to 2 times a week, even if you're trying to lose fat. The meal should be somewhere above 1,000 calories with 40% carbs, 40% protein, and 20% fat. Somewhere around there anyways. I decided to make some protein oatmeal with a big bowl of berries to get this result. I added some honey, kefir, and milk for even more calories. Now I'm still following the main concepts of the berries and the walnuts, but everything else is kind of whatever I want. If you're losing weight, your body sees this as a problem. It thinks that resources are low and that you might be starving. So it releases a series of hormones and systems that slow your weight loss and make you regain weight quickly. This is why so many people rebound on weight loss, and why Ozempic only seems to work in the short term if you don't address these issues. The purpose of this big breakfast is to offset the hormonal response by stimulating leptin. Leptin is a hormone that decreases appetite and increases energy expenditure. Exactly what we want when trying to lose weight. And one of the best ways to stimulate this is by eating a massive breakfast. The rest of the day is a very similar repeat of day one. Some resistant starch with lunch, which was another burrito bowl, and a pile of cruciferous veggies for dinner. This time I combined it with some mashed potatoes and some low-fat ground beef. Day 4, and I was back on the day 2 protocol. 4 small omega-3 rich meals throughout the day and a big low-carb dinner. One major issue during a weight loss period is that sleep can be affected. And almost everyone agrees that one of the most important aspects for your overall health is proper sleep. But luckily, Joel has an incredible bedtime sleep protocol. You start off with dessert, Jell-O. Jell-O is high in glycine, which has an interesting effect of decreasing visceral fat while you sleep, which is a major contributor to sleep apnea. But it also has the interesting effect of improving sleep onset by lowering your core body temperature. Another way to help lower your core body temperature is by having a hot shower or simply running your hands under hot water. When your extremities get warm, the body preemptively sends heat away from the core, causing your body temperature to drop, which is essential for sleep onset. One of the biggest keys to a good night's sleep is having proper breathing mechanics. So I'm taking a few drops of manuka honey and eucalyptus oil to help clear the airways, and then putting on a nose strip and some mouth tape. After blacking out the room, I did a few rounds of deep breathing and then slept like a baby. Each one of these things is powerful on their own, but combining them all together makes a massive difference. If you're someone who gets up in the middle of the night to go pee, try this and I guarantee you sleep through the night. I'm back on the day 1 protocol today, but come on, it's Friday. Let's have some fun. Breakfast and lunch followed the same pattern, but for dinner, I was going out to eat. I'm going ad lib. Now, the idea with an ad lib meal is to try and offset it. The typical diet mindset is that if you want to have a burger, that you have to fast all day or do an extra workout or something like that. But Joel suggests offsetting by adding more calories. Crazy, right? Well, here's how it works. Before going out to eat, I'm going to make a shake with these ingredients. Each of these ingredients has a specific purpose and will help our body process a high-calorie meal. This is completely against the mainstream way of nutrition. The typical diet just looks to lower calories any way it can. And although that can be an effective method, sometimes it can be a lot easier to improve the way your bodies process the calories. Our bodies are not mechanical calorimeters where every single calorie that enters our mouth gets processed in the same way. Everything we eat is affected by what we did before, what we're doing after, and what time of day it is. We're back to day 2, and today we're gonna amplify our fast and crank our testosterone through the roof. We already have the amplified fast set up from the day before, but I'm gonna amplify it even more by getting cold. I'm doing a cold plunge, but a cold shower would work just as well. This is gonna help boost our testosterone as well, and the next step to pump it up is to get a little bit of vitamin D from the morning sun. The final piece of the puzzle is to do some explosive or heavy exercises. I chose to do some power cleans and deadlifts. This sequence of events really helps you get the most out of your fast, and it really ramps up your testosterone. I had a couple small omega-3 rich meals and then finished it off with an ad lib dinner. And on the 7th day, he rested. and today I'm resting from any kind of rules or eating patterns. I started off the day with another big breakfast and then just let my body decide the rest. Now you can really sabotage yourself on a day like today if you go completely overboard and eat yourself sick with processed food. So I try to stick with mostly whole foods and stop eating when I'm satisfied, not when I'm full. But other than that, I don't stress about calories or macros or protein or anything like that. Just eat whatever I feel like and really try and listen to my body. And that's what my perfect week of eating looks like. I rarely do it perfectly and I change things up all the time. But the basic patterns, biohacks, and timings are things that I try and keep consistent. I don't find this style of eating restrictive at all, and I find it very flexible for everyday life. This diet follows the natural human rhythms of feasting, fasting, and foraging. And with the diet being so flexible, it allows for nutritional diversity, which is something that's neglected in so many diets. But for the majority of human history, nutritional diversity was something that was forced on us. If you found any of this information useful, then check out Joel Green's book, The Immunity Code. He also has an updated version called The Way, and both of these books are chock full of diet and lifestyle information that you can easily implement into your everyday life. And the best part is, none of these protocols involve anything extreme like cutting out carbs for the rest of your life or fasting every day until your willpower fades to zero. The biggest thing I learned from Joel is that if someone brings up a concept in health, says X is good or X is bad, they've probably only barely scratched the surface of that topic and then made up their mind. Very few things in life are purely good or purely bad. And when it comes to the human body and nutrition, everything is context dependent. I hope you learned something from this video, and thanks for watching. Oh, and big thank you to the 4 people who watched my video on Patreon. My most recent video got banned on YouTube for being too informative, so if you're interested in that, check out my Patreon. Thanks for watching.